Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the world-famous Punchline. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Good, good. We got a great show for you. It's called Your Best Friend is Doing Stand-Up Comedy, the Showcase Edition. Give it up for all the comics you're going to see this afternoon. They're in the back. Let them hear it. Take a minute to look at the emergency exits on your left and right. And while you're looking around, make a lot of noise for that bar and wait staff working hard in the dark at 4:30 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. Make some noise. I guess it's 5 now. All right, you guys ready to get the show started or what? Yeah. Pretty good, but we can do better, guys. Make some noise. Keep it going for your host and MC, Jesse Fernandez.
All right, hey, keep it going for yourself for coming out tonight. Not quite night yet. I'm used to doing this at night. That's neither here nor there. Give a hand for all the comics that are waiting to perform for you tonight. they are excited. They've been working hard, and they have got some cool stuff for you, some really funny stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. But you know what? It's not just their jobs tonight. Okay, you guys also have to be an awesome audience. Can you do that tonight? Yeah! I believe it. I believe it. I am your host. I'm Jesse Fernandez. I also taught the class, so I'm especially excited. Thank you. Thanks a lot. That was borderline sarcastic. But I do appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Oh, I like how even you said that, you're like, no! Mm-mm. Let me guess, you're Amit's mom. Oh, this is gonna be a great night. Amit's mom, nice to meet you. I'm Jesse.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi. You are clearly a very sweet woman.
You don't know me.
I don't. You want to do a set tonight? I can give you 5 minutes.
I have special instructions from Ahmed.
What were your special instructions?
Be quiet.
Oh! You'll get the hang of it. He told me that you were allowed to heckle him and nobody else. You might have gotten that flip-flopped.
I will listen to my son.
Okay. All right, good. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming out. Well, that throws me off. It's so cool that the Punchline was nice enough to let us have this show here at this very prestigious club. Not a lot of people get to perform on this stage tonight, so it's a special thing. You see these pictures on the walls of famous comics. They've all performed here. They love it here. I mean, why wouldn't they? You can't find a feeling like this anywhere else in the country. This very specific basement feel on the second floor is just a special thing. I'm happy that we all get to perform, or the Googlers get to perform here tonight. How many Googlers are in the audience? Nice. Cool. Yeah, a subdued crew. That's what I've learned. I like Google. I've been there for a few months now. It's great. I just wonder, where do you keep your old people? At 50, do they just have to go work at Yahoo? Is that the thing? Somebody just definitively, yes. Cool. Marketing strategist? Mm-hmm. You, account strategist? If you had to pick between Lyft and Uber, you would pick... Oh, Lyft.
There you go.
Yeah. You gave me a hint because you said careful now. That means you're woke. I know this girl, she won't take Lyft or Uber. She says that the drivers are creepy. Which, I don't really get that. You know, because you're in the car for 2 minutes. How do you know in that time that the driver's creepy? You don't. She gets out of the car to hang out with me once. As soon as the driver took off, she's like, that driver was a creep. That Lyft driver was a creep. I was like, why? What did he do? She's like, well, I caught him staring at me a bunch, and he didn't say anything the whole drive. What a creep. I was like, that doesn't make him creepy. That makes him shy, and you're pretty. He'd be a creep if he actually did something creepy. He showed up, he didn't have a car at all. He just had that pink mustache on his upper lip. Somebody order a ride? Feel the upholstery, that's real Jinkos. That gotta be a creep. Other dude's just shy. That's not a big deal. I like working at Google though. It's fun. It's super fun. It's a whole different world, you know. I only wanted to work at places where it would be fun, which means I didn't have a job for 2 years. And every once in a while I'd take a job interview, and then midway through I'd realize oh, this isn't gonna be fun, and then I'd just blow the rest of the interview because who cares? One time an interviewer said, it says on your resume that you're honest. Can you give me an example of that? And I said, I don't want to work here. One time an interviewer asked me, if you could have lunch with anybody, living or dead, who would you pick? And I was like, living. I think I'm overqualified for this position. You guys are gonna have to do better than that for the rest of the comics on the show tonight. I believe in you though. Just one time, just like one warm-up laugh, just like one big-ass laugh. We're gonna get this show started in just a couple minutes, and then one big laugh, and we'll get going, okay? 1, 2... You are the tent pole for my tent. Thank you so much.
I teach laughing yoga, by the way.
No, I believe it. That is so cool. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, but before I do, I want to do something extra special for you guys tonight. All right? I'm gonna read somebody's mind in this audience. Okay? And all I need is a volunteer. Somebody who's willing to let me read their... Thank you. First of all, what's your name?
Marty.
Marty, I know. Marty, I'm gonna read your mind. And there's one catch. That's that it takes me 2 guesses. Alright? Not bad. 50% accuracy. Now, I need you to focus on the thing that you want me to read. Okay? Do you have it? Okay. First guess. You're thinking about your parents having sex. No? Okay, second guess. Now you're thinking about your parents having sex.
What?
Okay, good. I was worried about that. You guys, that's my time. Don't forget to tip your bar and waitstaff. Give them a hand. Tip them well. Be patient with them. There's more of you than there are of them. You guys ready to get this show going? Oh, you can do a little better now. You guys ready to get this show going? All right, your next comic, she is very funny. I was so honored to have her in class. Please put your hands together real loud for Natalie Silvanovich.
So I have a confession to make to everyone here. I lied about my motivations for taking the stand-up comedy course. I told everyone it was for the normal reason. Everyone laughs at me, and I want to pretend I'm doing it on purpose. But really, I get terrible stage fright, and I'm trying to get over it a bit. So I'm going to share with you some of the things I learned about preventing stage fright. To start off, it's important to be very prepared. Always know what you're going to say when you get on stage. Also, have ideas what you're going to do if things go wrong. For example, I am super glad they mentioned the emergency exits at the beginning of this show, because I am totally running out of them if I forget my lines. Also, I brought an emergency paper bag, so if someone doesn't laugh, I'll just put it over my head. Also, it's really important not to drink caffeine before your set. It raises your heart rate and makes you nervous. Instead, I stick to a combination of alcohol and hard drugs. It also cannot hurt to follow the classic advice, if you get too nervous, just imagine the audience naked. But this only works if you're one of those rare people that finds being suddenly surrounded by a bunch of naked strangers calming. But the most important thing is to think about why you have stage fright. Deep down, what are you afraid of? For example, I realized my stage fright went back to when I was a child, and my parents were brutally murdered by a stage. And I spent the next 10 years becoming an international supervillain with a single-minded focus on ridding the world of stages. That, and I'm afraid people will make fun of my voice. Anyhow, if you think about it, stage fright goes back to worrying about what people think. And I learned a life hack to deal with this. Just in case you don't know what a life hack is, it's a piece of advice on the internet that teaches you how to do something either cheaper or faster, without regards for safety or effectiveness. For example, it is a life hack to cut your cinnamon buns with dental floss and make them extra minty. It's also a life hack to only wash the bottom of your hair. You'll save time, And you'll save even more time when your friends don't want to hang out with you anymore because you smell so bad. So what I'm getting at is life hacks are sometimes defective. For example, I read a life hack and it said you could open a pomegranate if you hit it with a hammer. So I tried it. I'm still finding pomegranate everywhere. And I had to explain to my Tinder date, no, that is not a bloody hammer on my countertop. But even worse, sometimes people make up bad life hacks on purpose. Like the other day, I saw online a life hack that you could charge your iPhone by putting it in the microwave. They said that this was a vast conspiracy involving Apple, the CIA, and Hillary Clinton to make money for the Illuminati by selling chargers. Anyhow, there were great photos of exploded phones on the internet the next day. And the internet was blissfully silent for like 3 days until all the conspiracy theorists got new phones. Anyhow, the life hack I learned is to get over stage fright, you should lie on the ground in a public place. Apparently some business dude who was too afraid of what people thought did this and it made him a business success. But I think he's just a huge prankster. He's like, I'm so rich, I can convince people to lie on the ground and then laugh at them as people trip over them. But I do like this idea in general. From here on in, if I make a mistake, it's because I'm getting over stage fright. Forgot my lines, just getting over stage fright. Did my entire set with my skirt tacked into the back of my underwear. Just trying to get over the realities of being nervous. Go to work, drunk, puke all over my coworkers, get arrested for being naked in public. Just freeing myself from the world of social expectations. So the other thing I learned is that there's some comedians who get on stage and do badly on purpose. To get over their stage fright, to get over the fear of doing badly. So just in case you didn't find me funny, that is totally what I'm trying to do right now. Thank you.
Keep it going for Natalie. That's so funny. All right, I'm gonna keep this show rolling. Your next comic, I've hung out with her, so I know that not only is she funny, but she is also very cool. Please put your hands together real loud for Sarah Wood.
Thanks, Jesse. Jesse's like a little comedic cheerleader in our pocket. So. Thank you, Jesse, for all your support. Natalie was real prepared. I'm not. The last comic I saw up here was Doug Benson, and all I can say is I wish I was as high as that guy was when I saw him. This would go a lot smoother right now. So I actually came out to my mom in college, which was really tough. It was a really tough experience. Probably because I'm not gay. That's weird. A little awkward. But I just wanted to make sure that she was going to accept me for who I was, no matter who I was. So I had to pretend to be somebody that I wasn't. And I think we're all kind of just sort of out there struggling, trying to be more than who we are sometimes, trying to fit into places where we really don't belong. For example, when I was in high school, I had a lot of Asian friends, so somehow they convinced me to go to Chinese Bible camp, which is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, I'm not religious at all. And so that was weird. And then this other time more recently, I actually did end up making out with a chick all night long. In Vegas, so that was legit. But the only thing about that experience is that she was Welsh, so I'm not really sure if it was like a lesbian experience or like a Welsh experience. Because I'm telling you right now, if you talk to somebody with a Welsh accent for more than 60 seconds and do not try to have sex with them, I don't want to know you. It's a powerful accent. Anyway. At the end of the day, I think I'm just trying to come to terms with the fact that I am just an average, run-of-the-mill, heterosexual, white, upper-middle-class female, right? It's blah. It's kind of boring. I don't know why. I hate that identity. I don't like anything about that. And I think I would have done well, actually. I feel like my body shape and general appearance kind of looks like I should be a butch lesbian, but I have big tits. Like, that's the only thing different about that. So, I don't know. It's just like didn't quite work out. Or like, strangely, I saw Drew Carey on the television the other night, and I was like, oh, I look really a lot like I could be his sister. It's not really the look I'm trying to go for in the world, but it's happening. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just trying to come to terms with who I really am. And that is actually a 35-year-old single mom with a 4-year-old daughter and a shit ton of free-floating anxiety. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else here has free-floating anxiety. What the fuck is up with free-floating anxiety? Isn't that like a strange idea? Like, why is the anxiety so carefree? Like, it's just like floating along like a little ball of paranoia, like drifting through life, going wherever it wants to go. And I don't know, I just think it's unfair. Like, I wish I could live like that, but I can't because I have free-floating anxiety. My daughter is now 4 years old. I did not plan on getting pregnant when I did. She was a big surprise, or for those of you who want to take it literally, she was a mistake. I'm sorry. That is just the facts of life. She's a happy mistake. I'm glad she's here. I love her to death. But she was still the byproduct of like one big bottle of champagne and a lot of bad judgment. So I'm super glad she's here. It took me more time to procure a backpack last week than it did to procreate my daughter, but she's here for the rest of my life. So I didn't know I was pregnant until I was like 8 weeks in, and I had just turned 30, and I just was feeling sick and tired all the time, and naturally I just thought like the dying process had begun. So I was like, I guess this is it. And everybody was all up in arms about dairy products back then, so I was like, oh, I guess at 30 you just become lactose intolerant as part of the dying process. And so anyway, I go to the doctor and she comes back and tells me I'm pregnant, and I was shocked, and I immediately ran home and was like, honey, let's go have some cheese. Like, thank God, thank God I can eat cheese. Like, that is, lactose intolerance is like for life, once you have that. Anyway, my daughter is 4 years old, and as a single mom, it is really tough, except that we have this nice thing that we can use as a babysitter called technology these days, which makes life really a lot easier. And she watches YouTube Kids all day. Do y'all know what YouTube Kids is? All right, that is like, it markets itself as like YouTube designed for content that kids and parents want. That's how it markets itself. But in actuality, it's really like the horror film version of Sesame Street. Like, it's just like a bunch of parents who are taking their kids, like, open and play with cheap plastic toys. It's not educational at all. It's horrible. And she fucking thinks it's real life now. Last month we were going to the park, and we were walking along, and we saw a ladybug, and we were like kind of looking at it, letting it crawl on her finger. And I was like, just to kind of test her, it's fun to play with 4-year-olds' minds now and then. So I was like, Amelia, do you think ladybugs are boys or girls? Which one are they? And she doesn't even look at me. She like looks out to the street to like no one. And it's like, are ladybugs boys or girls? Tell us what you think in the comment section below. She's not going to be educated. All right, anyway. That's my time up here. Thank you. Big thanks for my friends.
Keep it going for Sarah. All right, I'm gonna keep it going. Your next comic, I've seen the stuff that she's been working on, and it is good. It is really good, so I'm excited for this. Put your hands together real loud for Aishwarya Raghavan.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
Yeah.
You can be louder than that, Okay. Okay, thank you. I like that. So, my favorite story as a child was Ugly Duckling. Because I was born in a family of really good-looking people. It's like if I walked on the street with my mom, people would come up to us and say things like, "Oh my God, you look so young. Did you have your daughter when you're 15?" Except they would be asking me that question. Obviously, I'm sexy right now, so it all worked out. But I know life is in general unfair for people who are not good looking. It's like if you're really good looking and you wore glasses, you're smart. If you're not good looking and you wore glasses, your eyes are just fucked up. If you were a not so good looking Uber driver and you were just shy, people would think you're creepy. But if you were good looking, people would think you're mysterious. If you're good looking and had an accent, then you'd be exotic. If you're not good looking, then you're an illegal immigrant. So I'm sure you wouldn't have guessed. I'm not from the US. I moved here from India a couple of years back, and I went through a really difficult immigration process. A lot of paperwork, a lot of time on the phone with lawyers. And then when I moved here, I thought, this is it. Life is going to be great from here. It's going to be smooth. But then the most difficult part of living in the US started. Finding an apartment in San Francisco. The first step of the process, in the first step I was asked for all sorts of documents like my payslip, my social security number, references from my boss, my gynecologist, my ex-boyfriends. And the next step was a bit of a courtship. I had to sound interesting and cool, so I would say things like, I perform stand-up comedy. I'm a juggler. I like horseback riding. I speak 14 languages. But I have night deafness, so I can't hear you having phone sex in the other room. I still got rejected because they decided to go with someone who has a car. San Francisco type. So, as with most people in San Francisco, I am also in tech, and as you know, a lot of Googlers here. So despite being in tech, I'm kind of nervous about being on the internet. Feels like an unsafe place. I for one am sure I have a stalker. I know this person's been going through my profile, keeps asking me if I have boyfriends, has been threatening to post pictures of me online. It's my mom. Such a stalker. But it's kind of difficult not being online because you have to be online for online dating. I've been trying to be online for online dating. And one of the things I've learned is that when you're hungry, don't go grocery shopping. When you're desperate, don't go online for dating. It's like you bring back home something you never needed in the first place. Sometimes you might bring something that's way past its expiry date. Or sometimes you might give in for false advertising and bring home something that looks great in the pictures, but is shitty in real life. Or you sometimes just come up home and realize, how did I end up with two? I did not even need one. So I've been trying to find ways to live longer. I'm growing old, as you can see. But I've been trying to live longer, so I started running, and it's definitely helping. Each minute on the treadmill feels like an hour. I've just been adding all these extra hours to my life. So I discovered this is a cool way to live longer now, and so I started doing other things. So I just self-invited myself to a lunch with accountants. Really fun people. Or the other day, I just hung out in the DMV for 20 minutes, and it felt like 40 hours. So that's it. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, folks.
Keep it going for Ash. Very funny. The next comic is also very funny, and on the first day of class she told me that she was an intense learner, and that is definitely true, and I'm impressed with her workmanship, and I really like her stuff. And you guys will too. Put your hands together real loud for Luba Farafanova.
Hi. I'm Russian, if you couldn't tell. Thank you. Yeah, so I should apologize if these jokes are not that funny, because they were one comic short, and a few hours ago they booked me from the mail order catalog. You probably are thinking, oh, she's Russian, will she bomb? Well, I waited. No, Russians actually do not bomb. What Russians do is, Russians will stare at you really aggressively, and then nothing ever happens for you. Yeah, so I came here from Moscow to San Francisco several years ago, and before coming here, everybody was warning me about earthquakes. So I decided to prepare myself as much as I could. I even started flying United. And I swear to God, the first day I came here, the first single morning, 5 a.m., you imagine like 5 a.m. you're sleepy, right? The whole house starts shaking. Like walls are trembling, almost cracking, waves with flowers sent to the floor. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Garbage trucks are here. So that's how my movie went. What to tell you about myself? So I'm 87, which is pretty cool. 3 to the power of 3. And I do not have any kids, enjoying life. But my Russian granny, okay. But my Russian granny thinks that it's kind of already too late. You know, she's real old-fashioned. She says, oh, 27, you probably have to adopt. Jesus, Grandma, right? You have to adopt. I don't want to adopt a child right now. So to compromise with her, I adopted a highway. Paid some money, you know, like how it goes. You pay some money, some piece of road gets repaired. So I honestly thought that that's what taxes were for. But anyways, yeah, so what to tell you more about myself. So recently I got really excited about my shoulder muscle. And I found the exact description of that muscle on Wikipedia page. And I posted it on my Facebook wall. And I said something like, "Ooh, this is my favorite muscle, friends. What's yours?" Inevitably, right? There was a person who posted the same exact muscle. But even, that's outrageous, but even less outrageous. Another person, a father of 2. Ted, are you here? Thank God, no. So, avid churchgoer, posted a dick pic on my wall, but tasteful in the form of a medical diagram. And I don't know, like, I'm not prude, but I kind of deleted the message. But then he asked me, wait, he messaged me like, why did you delete? And I said, well, you know what? I felt kind of funny first, but then I felt shameful. Yeah, that's what dicks do to me. Yeah, so what to tell you more about myself? I'm really into reading all kind of funny studies. So recently I read an amazing study that's like mind-blowing for me, probably for you guys as well. So a life situation. A stranger is approaching your apartment complex and says, "Can I come in?" And there is like, statistics says that there is like 20% of chance of him getting in. Like based on looks, right? But then if the same stranger approaches your apartment complex and says, "Is there an elevator in this building? Can I come in?" Then there's 80% of chance of him getting in, right? So evidently people are pretty trusting, and if you seem like the kind of guy who's into elevators. But I don't understand, like people probably think, ooh, elevator, he sounds professional. Maybe he'll repair something. So that sounds to me exactly like the situation if a guy is approaching you in the streets and says, "Hey, can I look at your boobs?" You're like, God, no! But if the guy is approaching and saying, "Hey, do you have an elevator? Can I look at your boobs?" You're like, That sounds about right. Okay. I'll end on a cliffhanger.
Keep it going for Luba. Your next comic is a good friend of mine. Can I say that? A good friend of mine. And now he's a colleague of mine in comedy. Put your hands together real loud for Daniele Midi.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Nice. This is an awesome place to perform at. This is absolutely amazing. Well, yeah, thanks so much to our host, Jesse, that's doing a great job. Yes, please. So, my name is Daniele. It's a little bit of an unusual name. It's Italian. I'm from Italy. I'm actually gay and Italian, so if you were trying to guess, is he gay or just European? Either way, you're right, as my skinny jeans are kindly suggesting. I feel like I'm not like a really good gay, you know what I mean? Like I don't like watch RuPaul's Drag Race as the Lord expects me to. I'm more of I feel like I'm more of like a Cupcake Wars kind of guy, or like the Property Brothers. I would totally property those brothers. Like that's, yes, maybe I'm not that bad of a gay after all, it's good. I got married last year, you guys. Yeah, on purpose, yes. No, thank you. Thanks a lot for your sympathy. It's very appreciated. His name is Jason. He's very good looking. He's maybe a little short. He's like, he looks like Ryan Gosling, but fun-sized. It's just, which is the best size. That's good. Like now that we're married, there's a lot of friends of ours that are starting to ask, so are you guys gonna like have kids or something? We hang out with a lot of white girls, so that's it. And my answer is still the same, which is, oh my gosh, shut the fuck up, Jenna. Like I can barely take care of myself right now. I'm definitely not gonna do that. But who knows, like stuff kind of changes over time. I think like all my life I've been very like attracted to all this like asshole looking kind of guys, and my friends would always say like that's actually a very good thing, because if they look like they're assholes, it's very likely that they have a lot of money. It's very good, which is true. Things change over time. Like my husband is not like that. He does not have any money whatsoever. He's just an asshole. So my husband Jason is not here tonight because he had to work. But a few nights ago he came to see me perform at an open mic night, and I did this joke, and it was just so much fun to just call him an asshole, like directly in his face in front of everybody. But I'm obviously kidding. Like he's a wonderful guy. He takes a very good care of me. I feel like sometimes I'm the asshole. Like he will tell me like that I never listen to him, or well, he's saying other things, but I wasn't paying that much attention. I feel like as a gay man, getting a partner is pretty awesome, because your wardrobe instantly doubles. It's amazing, and that's probably like one of the only good things about that. I believe the rule for lesbians is that you get to have twice as many cats. I'm not completely sure, but. But yeah, my life right now is it's pretty crowded. I have a cat, a dog, and a husband, and I love them in this order. So I think I'm just a cat person for the most part. But my husband wanted a dog, so we got a dog. That's what you do. So we got an English bulldog. She is just so ugly, poor thing. She's just got the whole bulldog deal, underbite, snaggletooth, like weird belly, but like the whole package. And her name is Petunia. I know, super sweet. I know. We call her Petunia because the vet told us that we could not name her. Oh dear Lord, what is that thing? It would just not fit in the name tag. That was mostly the issue. And she has some like weird quirks. Like she will be just like playing on the ground, like chasing the cat around. Then all of a sudden she just walks under a little end table in the corner, sit there, just stare at you for a minute or so, and then just go play back again. And I'm very confused. And like after a while, I'm just starting to think that they kind of cheated us, and they gave us a Roomba in a fur costume that is just like finding the charging station and going back. But having a dog is awesome. But I feel like they never tell you what you're getting yourself into. They're just there's so much that you have to know to train them as a puppy. Like what was mostly shocking to me was that like I would have had to work on my happy voice. That's actually like a professional term they use in like training books. Like you have to work on your happy voice. And, you know, it sounds a little bit like, good girl, good buddy, you know. It's super embarrassing. I do it really well because I have absolutely no self-esteem. You can tell, I mean, I married asshole Ryan Gosling, so, you know, that might count for something. But you know, it's super effective. You know, it gets the job done. She loves it, and she does what I want her to do. So I'm kind of thinking of like trying to get to do that at the office as well. You know, like people are coming out of a meeting, and I'll be like, "Good slides, Bill. Good slides. Good." For some reason, Bill is a really short person in this scene. But you know, who did a good job? Who did a good job? Thank you so much, guys. You're an awesome crowd. Appreciate it.
Keep it going for Daniele. Very, very good. Okay, your next comic was just a pillar of enthusiasm to have in class, and I'm really happy for that and grateful. And she's also very funny, so that's nice too. Put your hands together real loud for Tamara Lowe.
Nice choice of word, pillar, because I know, you know, just like Jesse, I can read minds too, and I know the first thing that passed through your head is, that is one big Chinese woman. And that's fine, I'm used to it. I'm actually a personal trainer at Google, so we have a lot of work cut out for us, just because, you know, all the engineers are sitting a lot, they're not using their torsos very much, so, but I'll kind of get to that a little bit later if I have time. But, so kind of sticking with the pillar image, I like to see myself as, I mean, if I did have a Barbie made of me, because I was just watching some videos of Misty Copeland, and it was a big deal for them to make like the first African-American kind of role model ballerina Barbie, and I said, wow, if I had a Barbie made of me, it'd be like the XXL Chinese Asian Barbie. Or, you know, I always like to wear dashikis or Indian saris, so like the liberal Berkeley, culturally appropriating Barbie. So anyway, there's just like, what was it? I think Sarah was saying that, yeah, my identity is too boring, so I have to borrow, you know, others. And I think Jesse should have made sure that there were not two dog owners / lovers going back to back, because I also have some dog training stories. I'm always fascinated with people who make different, you know, life choices I do, and that's why I kind of, you know, interact with different groups. Like at work, there's the BGN Black Googlers Network, or the Gay Girls Group. All right, representing right over here. That's my table, but I'm super fascinated. You know, I'm not a super political person in the sense that I'm you know, like commenting about what Trump's doing, but what did fascinate me, because I'm a fitness person, is that when he went to France a couple of months ago to celebrate the 100th, you know, anniversary of the French Revolution, I think. There's a video that went around where he's commenting how the First Lady is in good shape. And so I had to look her up because I didn't really know what she looked like. And I was like, wow, she looks a little bit older than the president of France. And so I kind of I kind of looked up their ages. And surprisingly, I mean, I'm used to, you know, hearing about cougars like Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore and maybe some other more famous ones, but she's actually in her 60s, and the president's in his 30s. So, so I kind of I have a really good imagination, so I kind of like imagine what it would be like to be in like a really an uber cougar, you know, relationship like that. So, just like Daniele, I've been going to puppy classes because I have a 5-month-old husky, and so So I was thinking like, you know, my young boyfriend would be like playing video games at home, and it'd be like, you know, time to go to the movies, and I'd be like, so in puppy training, you have to say the puppy's name, what the command is, and then as they're doing it, you have to keep praising them and then say like, you know, good job. So good job with a snack. So, you know, if my young boyfriend's like playing video games and can't get up, you know, I'd be like, let's just say, what's your name? All right, Dustin. All right. I'd be like, Dustin, leave it. Good boy. And like, if he turns around and puts his cap on backwards, I'd, you know, give him like a, you know, Cheeto or something. Or, you know, I'm not a big, because it's kind of a Chinese thing, like, I'm not really into PDA. So if we were out in the movies and, you know, like, Dustin put his arm around me, I'd be like, Dustin, off! Good boy. You know, so those are just kind of things that I was thinking about our relationship would be like. And I actually, oh, I see a light. Okay, so, it's funny because I was telling this joke at this open mic in San Jose, and I just met somebody. He was like a friend, but he's like a college student, so much younger than me. So I was like, wow, such irony that I'm meeting somebody so young. But I actually bumped into him yesterday when I was at this jazz bar, and these are like these red flags that is like, all right, it's not going to work out. The first thing he said is like, do you know what a fidget spinner is? And I was like, in my brain, I was like, no. And then he was like, do you want to try it? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. And so I think the final straw was that, so Dustin, if I said, hey, do you want to have a burger? And then you couldn't hear me, what would be your response? Okay, so that's kind of acceptable. Like, I get that. So I said something, and he's like, what's up? Yeah, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get that, you know, culturally. So so I want to end my set by, I always like to quote stand-up comics because I've been a fan of comedy for a long time, and this is the first time I actually get to say that I did stand-up comedy, so it's really been exciting. So Joan Rivers, I'm going to kind of paraphrase her quote because, you know, I can't remember. I can't quote people's quotes, but she said that whenever you know, crack a joke and make people laugh, it's I'm going to get emotional. It's like giving them like a little vacation, and I think like, you know, we definitely need vacations, not just once a year, but, you know, throughout the day. So I'm glad people in my class and people aspiring to be stand-ups are trying to give each other like little vacations. So thanks for coming. Bye.
Keep it going for Tamra. That was really great. That was awesome. How great is this show going right now? It's so good. I'm gonna keep this going. Your next comic was so helpful with class. Like, the class wouldn't be as good without her effort. So I'm really grateful to her, and she's very funny. Please put your hands together real loud for Alexandra Gergina.
Hello, how's everyone today? What's up with this heat, right? I came here and I was walking from Munich, I almost got a heat stroke. Imagine going tomorrow to work with a massive headache and not even a hangover. That would be so lame. I could take a sick day, but I really, really hate sick days. I don't know about you, has anybody taken a sick day? A little bit, not a lot of kryptonite around, but yeah, I really hate sick days. It was my favorite thing as a kid. It would be no homework, no school, plus your parents would be at home and take care of you, so I'd have like unlimited Cartoon Network, unlimited cookies, whatever I wanted. It was my dream. I didn't have a lot of friends, so yeah, that was as good as I got. But now it's not fun, and it's not the parents' thing because I'm a strong, independent woman, and I have Amazon Prime now, which means I can get unlimited, organic, cruelty-free, guilt-full brownies anytime I want. So yeah, that's not the problem. The problem is I have this colleague at work Let's call him Edwin. I don't want to rat out Brian. Brian's a good guy, but Edwin, whenever he comes back from sick day, I don't want to lie. It's like whenever he comes back, he's, oh guys, that was so horrible. I felt so bad. The doctor put me on bed rest. There was nothing to do. So I did this project review, and I thought about it, and I have this 6-slide presentation about what we should be working on for next year and a half. Like, how cool is that, right? Like, that's like, oh, teacher, you forgot to check our homework, uncool. Or yeah, right? Or like, oh, why don't we do a midterm OKR at next meeting? Or, to be honest, in my case, it's like, why stay home when I can go to work and infect that Edwin, unquote. Yeah, so I hate sick days because of that. So I think, but California gives you sick days, so you might as well take them, right? You're kind of working for them anyway. So I decided every time I take a sick day from now on, I'm gonna work, but I'm gonna work on my other skills. Don't get any funny ideas. For instance, in my case, I could really use some sailing skills. I'll tell you what, it's a funny story. Last weekend, we were in Seattle with my friends, and we had this great idea. Oh, it's so sunny outside, why don't we go to the lake and rent a boat? And that idea is about as good as thinking, oh, it's May, why don't we go to Yosemite? That we're so smart. Problem is, just like that, everybody was on that lake. I don't joke, everybody you could possibly have in Seattle was on that pretty tiny lake. So I was there driving a small boat, really simultaneously thinking, oh, I should try and spare the most paddleboarders around. I should not try to crash in anything too expensive. And really, it's best way if you stand well clear of seaplanes, and if you haven't seen a seaplane land within 10 feet of you, you're lucky. I saw that, it was like light flashing before my eyes. So I was there, but my friends weren't having the same trouble. They were more concerned about the fact that they thought I was driving too slow, or that if they didn't point out every single wave as it was approaching the boat, they might get splashed, or the champagne spilled, which was the worst. So I had this great idea, like I'm a great sailor, right? So I thought about this. I'm gonna do a 360 real quick, show that I can drive real fast, not spill any of the champagne if it's real quick. And then if some of them get splashed and they see there's not such a big deal, I can get a nice and quiet afternoon after that. Long story short, mistakes were made. More than one friend got splashed. One of them got a real close encounter with the water. But don't worry, it wasn't that bad. The champagne bottles were not hurt in the process. That's it from me. Next.
Keep it going for Alexandra. All right. Oh boy, your next comic, he is such a sweet guy, and I've enjoyed hearing his stories in class and like his very funny stuff. I'm excited that he's going to show it to you guys. Put your hands together very loud for Amit Dubai.
Hey guys, just in case you're wondering, yes, I am the son of the heckling lady. Awesome. I have some great news. I'm Canadian originally, and I just got a US green card. And those two things are not related. And it is kind of strange, me being Canadian, to be coming into the US. Given the political situation, a lot of people say, I'm gonna move to Canada. But not me. There's a do not enter sign. And I kept on going. It's a one-way street. I'm driving the wrong way down it. There's just me and this middle-aged Chinese lady. Screw you guys, this is the way we're going. And I have to say, there actually are a lot of things about the US that's actually very welcoming to me. For many years, I moved away from Canada a long time ago, and I lived in Europe for a while. I was in Germany, I was in Scotland for a bit, and when I was in Germany, so like here's an example of just the kind of things that are just like a little bit off. A good friend of mine, an American expat, her name is Alyssa Mellinger, and she's Jewish. She just moves to Germany, and she's calling up places trying to get an apartment. So it rings up the first guy. Hi, is the place on Lessingerstrasse still available? Yes, it is, but where are you from? I'm American. You aren't a black American, are you? Yeah, I know what you're thinking. This racist German can't tell the difference between an African American and a Chicago Jew. The US, though, by complete contrast, is much more welcoming. So here's a country whose motto is, give us your weak, your sick, your poor, and we're gonna deport them right back to Mexico. Which is great for me. My sister has a timeshare in Cabo. One of the things that's very welcoming in the US, in the Bay Area especially, is that there are a lot of other immigrants. So we kind of blend in, we don't get noticed. But, okay, so I see that there are a lot of white faces in the audience. So I'm gonna let you in on something that you may not know. Immigrants are racist against other immigrants. So, that's my mother, yes. A good friend of mine, Dean Santiago, he's Filipino, and his mother, who, his parents immigrated from the Philippines, she says to him, "Oh, Dean, I saw you talking to a Vietnamese family. Don't talk to the Vietnamese." Which is, kind of weird, but I guess it's okay. It's kind of cute, this short Filipino lady being a little bit racist. What gets really scary is when it starts to become institutionalized. So like here in the US, in the past, there was, slavery, obviously. There were the Jim Crow laws. Things might be going, a little bit too far, and sometimes we see institutionalized racism when it isn't there. So this happened to me recently. Last week was very, very hot. Very, very hot. And on Friday, everyone in my office at exactly the same time, like 2:56 p.m., we all got an Amber Alert. It said, "Warning, get inside, it's too hot to be outside." 6 minutes later, the same warning came in Spanish. And in my head, the justification was, "You damn Latinos, you better stay outside working for the next 6 minutes." 3 minutes after that, the same thing came in Vietnamese. I'm still waiting for the Filipino one. It never came. But now, in the present political era, we now face the very real threat that some forms of racism will become institutionalized. And there's this anti-fascism movement, the Antifas. But in some sense, you need to make sure that the fascists don't take over. But some of these people do take it a bit too far. Like there's violence in the recent demonstration in Berkeley, initiated some of it by the Antifa movement. Now, I completely understand we need to be vigilant. But starting with violence may take it a bit too far. Like what's going on? "Oh man, I punched this neo-Nazi and I changed his mind. Now he rents his spare room to an African American." But I have to say, me, myself, personally, after the election, I did feel a definite change in the ethos. And in the few days just after the election, so I personally was like a victim. Nothing happened in the end, so I stayed safe. But I definitely felt a lot more road rage. And so I guess I am drawing, maybe generalizing a bit, but in every case it was kind of a middle-aged white male who just got very, very angry, threatening me with violence. Rolling down the window, one guy saying, I'm gonna punch you. To be fair though, I was going the wrong way down a one-way street. Just me and this middle-aged Chinese lady. Screw you guys! Thank you, that's my time.
Keep it going for Amit. So we are down to our final two comics. Are you guys with us? Your energy's good? Alright, you guys, well, keep it going for your next comic. Very funny. Put your hands together real loud for Liz Shelley.
All right. never felt tall in my life. So hi, I'm Liz, and and for my set today, I wanted to tell you a little bit about how I met my husband. And I don't mean to brag right off the bat, but we met at a really swanky place. Some of you may have heard of it. It's called Match.com. And yeah, man, we're kind of old-fashioned romantics, what can I say? But online dating is really weird. Like, it worked out okay for us, but it's just really weird. So you sign up for this thing, and you have just been like looking for shoes on your computer. And then you switch over to Match.com and you're like, I guess it's kind of like looking for shoes. So you kind of filter by the type of activity you want them for. You can filter by size, you know, because they list their height, like, come on guys. And then you basically just hope they don't make you look stupid in your favorite outfit. And so yeah, it worked out okay for us, but it was just really weird. And I think the weirdest part about online dating, and really any kind of dating, is that you don't actually ever meet the person that you think you're gonna meet. You meet their representative, which is not the same. It's like the nicest version of that person, and you sometimes don't realize that. And at least for us, like, my representative is a very good driver, loves cooking, and is super chill when plans change at the last minute without telling me. My husband's representative is a very good listener, also loves cooking, and yeah, he's very patient. He doesn't mind when it took me like 10 tries to get the right shoes to go out on a date. And honestly, our representatives had the best time together. We spent several years traveling the world. We woke up next to mountain lakes after backpacking in the middle of nowhere. We woke up to these beautiful vistas, sometimes bears, but we were strong because it was our representatives, we weren't scared. We like mushy looking into each other's eyes, and like, it was just amazing. We had the best time. And then the weirdest thing happened. We had kids, and we haven't seen our representative since. Like, the nanosecond my daughter showed up, our representatives looked at each other and were like, dude, I did not sign up for this shit. And my husband and I were in the delivery room kind of looking at each other and like kind of wider eyes than we had, and we're like, dude, what did we sign up for? And like, I don't mean that our representatives had like lied the whole way. It was just that they'd left out important pieces of information. Like, we're still in the hospital. My daughter's like screaming her head off because she's a baby. My husband has this panic look in his eye, and he's like, here, you said you love children. Take her. And I was like, yeah, I said I loved children, but I've never actually been around one that I couldn't hand back when they didn't stop crying. So we might be both in this together. And then my husband didn't mention that his like crazy startup ideas weren't gonna just stop after we had kids. So I know, like, honey, driverless cars are this really big thing, but I don't think anyone is going to invest in your autonomous stroller startup, so just walk her around the block so I can take a nap. And it was at this point, like a few weeks after having kids, that like the scales fell from our eyes, you know, kind of like Neo in the Matrix. We kind of saw through all of this romantic bullshit. Well, it was like Neo in the Matrix, but like less leather and more screaming. But we kind of saw through the bullshit. Like, you know, they have all these things, like, for various anniversaries, you're supposed to get certain types of gifts. And, like, you're supposed to get, I don't know, what is it, like, 7th anniversary is copper, so you have to go and find this, like, artisanal copper jewelry for your significant other. Or maybe if they're into home improvement, you find, like, copper pipe fittings, like, I don't even know. Or, like, silk for your 12th anniversary. And if you think I'm making this up, I looked it up, it's true. So, yeah, we have all these things, and, like, representatives were the people who made up this stuff. No real people came up with this random stuff, and definitely not real people with children. So I think for our first anniversary after kids, I was like, paper? Paper. You want me to go on Etsy, find some like snowflake cutout fucking paper mache, like, I could be napping, you want me to do what? So I walked in the kitchen, I was like, honey, happy anniversary, paper anniversary, here's a napkin. Could you clean the spinach off our daughter's face, and maybe your shoe, and while you're at it, the ceiling? I don't know how it got up there. And he's like, sure. But to his credit, he's kind of taken this in a happier direction. He's tried to come up with some new things that weren't on any of the lists to make us, closer as a couple. So for our 4th anniversary this year, it just happened, kind of rolled over in bed, said, "Happy anniversary, honey." Then I took out my earplugs, and he said, "Happy anniversary, honey." And he said, "I want you to know it's our anniversary today," and I remembered. So for this anniversary, it's not on any list. I was considering farting in bed this morning, and I decided not to. Happy anniversary. And you know what? That was a really freaking great anniversary present. And I'm kind of thinking, this should be on lists. It's the type of thing his representative might have done, except he would have done it every morning and not taken credit for it. So yeah, fingers crossed for next year. Anyway, bye.
Here we go for Liz. All right, we are down to your final comedy. You guys ready? Hell yeah. This guy's one-liners. Thing of beauty. Put your hands together very loud for Daniel Greenia. Everybody, I was hoping you'd all be drunk by the time I got up on stage, but I didn't realize you'd be 6 p.m. drunk. Ooh. Well, thank you all for coming and supporting amateur comedy. That's kind of a big thing, or as I like to call it, locally sourced comedy. Which I guess kind of makes this event like a really gross farmer's market. With all these weird-looking lumpy comics on stage. And hey, since I'm the last comic of the night, I'm gonna hand out a few extra minutes of material for free. No charge, yeah. Yeah, it's they'll go bad tomorrow. They're all topical. So, yeah, now when I go to a farmer's market, if I don't like a seller's tomatoes, I just throw jokes at him. It's kind of a nice little chat. I'm curious, did anyone here just wander off the street tonight? As in, you don't know somebody performing tonight? Yeah, oh, yeah. You must really need that 2-drink minimum. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we're in San Francisco. It's a beautiful place. It's very progressive here, and I like to get into it too. Earlier this year, I gave to someone in need. I got mugged. And he took my wallet, but I could tell he was really desperate when he also demanded my Samsung Galaxy 7. So now, on top of all of his other socioeconomic issues, he's walking around with a bomb in his pocket, which I'm okay with. Yeah, I tried to write the loss off on my tax returns as charity, but it turns out it ceases being a donation once a gun is involved. So now, if a shady person walks up to me in the studio, I just hand him money, because you gotta have the quicker draw if you want that sweet deductible. Gotta be quicker. Yeah. I do try to help people though. I've signed up to run a 10K charity race to end hunger. Yeah, fuck hunger, right? No one likes that. Yeah. And if you've never, that was very brave of you to do. If you've never run one of these races before, it works all like this. Thousands of big-hearted people gather tons and tons of non-perishable food and then eat it all to train for the race. Yeah, and if that's not insulting enough to the hungry, during the race, we wear bibs. Yeah, with the numbers, yeah. My generosity does not end there. This summer, I was in a tan-a-thon to cure skin cancer. And in December, I'm in a boxing match to fight child abuse. Yeah, it's the least I could do. If I did any less, I'd be doing nothing. Yeah. So, this next joke is about to be heard. I'm very lucky with my job. A lot of people don't get to use the skills that they learned in school in the workplace, but I do. I sit perfectly still every day at a desk for 8 hours. Yeah, I started practicing this for 12 years in primary school. It wasn't enough. Went to college, got 4 more years under my belt, but it wasn't until after 5 years of grad school that I finally had my technique down. And now I get to use it every single day. There is kind of a drawback, though, to this sedentary lifestyle of mine. I went to my doctor to get my back imaged because I'd met my deductible for the year. So and he pulls up the image and shows me something that looks a lot like a red vine licorice whip. It's twisted, it's thin, it's this weird unnatural red color. He says, "This is your spine." And he points to the middle of it. There's this dark clump. And says, "This is a bundle of nerves that transmit pain from your lower extremities up to your brain." Yeah. It looked like a meatball. Should look like spaghetti. So he pulls out his little rubber mallet and he gives my toe a whack. And he said, "All right, Danny, go home, relax, and call me when you feel that." All right, I'm almost out of time, but I want to leave you with this. So, I'm not a very religious man, but in unsettling times like this, I find comfort in the Serenity Prayer, which, if not familiar, is a favorite amongst recovering drug addicts. And it goes a little something like this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And sweet Jesus, give me Coke. Thank you. That's it. Keep it going for Danny. Hey, and keep that applause going for all the comics that you saw tonight. Holy smokes. That's like some bucket list type stuff that these people got to check off. How cool is that? And here tonight, the bravery, and they were good. They were good. Holy shit, they were good, right? Oh, I'm so proud of them. Man, I just gotta fill a little time because we're dropping the checks. The computers went down for a long, like a scary amount of time, but they're back up. They're dropping the checks right now. Hey, you know what? These comics got to like check it off of their bucket list tonight, but they couldn't have done it without an audience. And you guys were not only an audience, you guys were a good ass audience. Give yourselves a hand. Hell yeah! Just about halfway done dropping those checks. Oh yeah, sweet. I like to, in situations like this, I like to stay positive. It's good to be a positive person. I am, I'll spin things positive, the computers went down, they don't have the checks out, but you guys get extra bonus comedy show, and that's pretty damn sweet. Like, every once in a while, I'll take, a negative situation and do that, spin it. Like, I got a Minute Maid lemonade not too long ago, and I was like, this is going to be a nice, healthy life choice. But then I looked at the nutrition facts on it. Yeah, you must have looked. 0% juice. There are no lemons whatsoever in Minute Maid lemonade. A lot of people would be like, well, what a waste of my money. Not me. I spun it positive. And I was like, what an underdog of a company. Because life didn't even give them lemons. And they were still like, we're making lemonade. Why is it yellow? I once did that joke and somebody yelled out at me right afterwards, Minute Maid's actually made with 3% juice. Which is a rude heckle. A fact check in the middle of the comics act. That is not cool. If you're gonna heckle something nice. Thank you very much. I'm its mom. But you know what? When that person heckled me, I didn't get negative. I'm not a negative guy. I mean, I did tell him to go fuck himself, but I let that person know that no, it is 0% juice, not 3% juice. Like, do you really think I would write and perform that entire joke without doing the research first? That'd be ridiculous. That is so dumb. I looked it up later. It is 3% juice. I like the joke. I want to keep doing it, so so I just keep doing it. All right, so who's San Francisco born and raised? Quite a local show. You guys like it though, right? Yeah! Hell yeah. I love it. I love San Francisco because it is wild and interesting in ways that your hometowns probably weren't. Like, I was on the bus recently in San Francisco, which is San Francisco on overdrive. And on the bus, this dude sits down right next to me, like an empty bus, and then he looks over at me and he goes, "Hey, did you know that pine cones are really just skeletons of murdered artichokes?" I was like, man, I'm glad I live here. I catch that guy a couple minutes later just whispering seemingly to nobody, "You're not crippled. You don't need that wheelchair." To a baby in a stroller. That man is the best. I am so happy about that dude. Did we get all the checks out? Yeah? Thank you. Question. I am a San Francisco, I'm a Bay Area boy. I grew up in Vacaville, which is, it counts. On Craigslist it says East Bay. Alright? It's an hour from the Bay, but it can't, you know. But I've been in the, did you flip me off? Oh, okay. That would have been weird. What a turn. Okay. One more time for all the comics that you saw tonight. Thank you guys for coming out to support them and just being really sweet people and a great audience tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.